Difficult. Women.
Hello.
Hi. Long time no speak.
I know. We've already had a crazy morning, you guys.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I'm Katie.
I'm Marie.
This is Difficult Women.
And somebody's a little more difficult than...
Oh, I'm like, my life is so difficult right now that I've become difficult. So full disclosure, guys, I called Marie, or I talked to Marie earlier this morning because I was pretty sure there's a bug in my nose.
She texted me at 2 a.m. last night. Like,
I
you
thought
awake?
it was a gas leak in my apartment. It's totally fine. Everything's fine, you guys. But then when I woke up and Maria was like, "Are you fine?" I'm like, "No, I'm still not fine because now I think there's a bug in my nose."
So before 9 a.m. this morning, I'm Googling. Don't Google it, you guys. And Katie, you especially, don't Google it because it's crazy. But Google if you want. I don't know. Bug in your nose. It does happen. It's rare, but it does occur. Surprise, surprise, more in third world countries.
Where there's just more bugs or something. I don't know.
More like, bugs, more open windows and things.
Yeah. I told you this story too, that like when I was living in an apartment that didn't have air conditioning, I had like a fan on when I was sleeping, and I woke up with this like sharp burning pain in my nose, and then I like coughed, and then a fly came out of my mouth.
Oh God.
So I'm like a little traumatized anyway. But you guys, I still have this weird feeling in my nose. It feels like there's a little worm in there. If you think I have a bug in my nose, please send an email to difficultwomenpodcast@gmail.com.
Not even if you think there is one, how to deal with it, how to get it out.
Tell me what to do about this bug in my nose. Send us emails. We love emails.
I mean, I've heard that like if you have a worm in your nose, you can put like an apple and it'll come out your nose to eat the apple. We could try that right now.
I'm going to walk around with an apple by my nose all day and people will be like, what's wrong? That's the good thing about New York, though, is that you can do weird stuff like that. And I can sit on a bus with an apple next to my nose for like an hour and nobody would ask me if anything. They'd be like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and if the worm actually came out like on the bus or the subway, people would be like, yeah, that seems right.
That seems normal. Like,
that's why New York is the best. I miss New York. Well, I miss New York more than ever because I had the craziest thing just happen right now.
What happened?
I went to go check on the chickens.
Oh, God.
And one of the chickens was eating its own egg. That's not good.
Cannibalism. What is it hungry?
What?
Maybe, did you feed him?
I did. I fed him. Because my roommate's out of town, so I'm in charge of the chickens, and now I've turned them into cannibals.
Did you ever see Pet Sematary?
Yeah, yes.
That's what I feel like the chicken died and woke up and now it's going to like murder everybody.
I know.
I'm sorry.
But it's really...
He won't murder you. It'll be fine.
Well, that's fine. He's going to eat the other ones. I don't know. She.
Right. She, yeah.
But because I only saw 3 out there and there's 4 and I was like, oh shit, I lost one. And then I opened up the coop and there's the one eating its own egg.
Did you Google that?
Yeah, I did Google it. It was like they're because honestly, the other day I picked up the eggs and one was like a water balloon. It was really thin.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was really gross. I almost threw up on myself.
One of the chickens has got a problem.
Yes, one of them has a calcium deficiency. That's what Google told me. But then what happened that was so freaky is that they then started fighting over the egg, all 4 of them.
Oh, what's happening?
I know.
Pet Sematary.
I gotta go back to New York. I can't deal with this. Chickens at first were like so romantic. Chickens fighting over an egg that they birthed themselves.
Their own child, yeah.
Yeah.
Not child. It's more like a period. They're fighting over a period.
Yeah, their period.
Sorry, everybody that likes. I love eggs, but just so you know, that's what an egg is.
You're just eating periods.
You're eating somebody's period. Gross. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, if we're gonna have a crazy day, we're gonna take you all down with us. But wait, I need more information.
This feels right.
Do you think that the chicken is eating it because it needs more calcium, and it's like I gotta get the calcium back in my body?
That's what I was reading. That possibly they just have this one particular chicken. I mean, they all were fighting. So do they all have a calcium deficiency?
Or are they just
I don't know.
Ooh, delicacy. New food. I don't know.
No,
How do you get more calcium inside a chicken?
Bad.
Get a little glass of milk.
With a straw or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna let Jessica deal with this because these are not my chickens. Before I always thought it'd be cool to have chickens. Not anymore. I'm good. I don't want
it's good
chickens.
to know that. I have to say, it's nice. It's like having like having a niece or nephew. You're like, do I want kids? And then you're like, oh no, give them back or whatever.
No. Yeah. I mean, I've been learning a lot about myself. I do not like living in suburbia. No, thank you. I do not know how people do it. I need a sidewalk. I need a bar that I can. My friends are like, why? What's wrong? Why? And I was like, because I want to be able to get shit faced and stumble home. It's all. That's all I want.
And not have
to drive.
Yep.
Not
that
have
is
to.
Yeah.
It's very important. I don't know how people do that.
New York City thing where nobody drives, so you can just be fucked up all the time. Is that good?
Turns out that's what I need. That's what I need.
That's all you're looking for in a town.
That's all I'm looking for. Seriously.
I hear that. Oh God.
And there can't be fucking pests in the background eating each other's periods. Just can't do it.
Or
can't
bugs
do it.
in your nose.
Or bugs in your nose. I'll gladly get some more bugs in my nose when I come back to New York.
Yeah, it's probably a weird.
Are you sure it's
rogue booger? I don't know.
That's what I think it is.
So tickly, and like I think again because of my story about the fly, I think if it was a real object, it would be like burning, and it's not burning. It just is very tickly.
Well, I feel like when we toured. I remember this distinctly in Chicago because I thought you saw me picking my nose a lot, and I wanted to be like, it's just dry, and I think I did. But I went through like a couple weeks of just like super dry inner nostrils. I don't know.
Yeah, inner nose.
Inner nose. But I feel like when I was driving a lot, like you'd look over and I'd be picking my nose. But it was just dry. It was just dry boogers.
You gotta do what you gotta do, especially if there's something tickly in there.
I don't think it's a bug. It could be.
I feel like maybe now it's not. I think you talked me off the ledge, but this morning I'm so sleep deprived and like so like. This is such a crazy thing, and you're in a similar boat at the moment. But like living alone all of a sudden after having roommates for a couple years, like getting back into that vibe of like, oh right, like when things go bad.
What do you do?
I have to figure it out. Yeah. So I just like frantically text people at like 4 a.m. Gas leak. Google gas leak. Like, by the way, if you guys ever smell gas, the thing you're supposed to do is leave your place and call the fire department. It's not what I did, but that's what you should absolutely do. I opened the windows and panicked.
Margot, my little sister, I went down there to help take care of the babies when they were 3 months old. And we came home and her fire alarm was going off. The carbon monoxide thing was going off.
Oh my God, so scary.
And it's like, you can't take these 3-month-old babies in there. So we waited outside while the sexiest fireman came and
maybe
went
I should
through
have called the fire department.
Oh man, I know. Well, it turned out Margaret just needed to change the battery.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. But I mean, at least we had a show and
dinner and a show.
A little
Yeah.
Well, I have one other funny, I don't know.
Yes, please.
This is my life. It's so boring, but in suburbia. So a couple weeks ago, Jessica was like, oh my God, I think we have secret admirers or something. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because apparently somebody raked our leaves in the front yard.
Oh.
Like, because all of a sudden they were gone. And I mean, she was like, I think somebody did it. Or I was like, I think they just blew away. Like, I don't know.
We don't know anything about leaves. Yeah, how do leaves work? We don't
also,
know.
Are you supposed to rake them? Like, I have no idea. So anyway.
You do have to rake them.
You would think. I don't know. But so she's out of town all week, and I'm here in this goddamn place, hellhole, all by myself. And she, all of a sudden, I look outside, and like the Trump supporter who lives right next door, this old man, is mowing our front yard. And I text Jessica a video of this. I'm like, oh my God, I found like the culprit. It's old man Trump man next door.
Old man Trump.
Old man Trump. Doing it. And Jessica was like, oh my God, that's so nice of him. I was like, dude, and let me get your opinion on this. But I think he's doing it out of spite because you should see his pristine, perfect yard. And if if we don't rake the leaves, then our leaves just go into his yard. So he's just like,
that's
just doing it
honestly,
out of spite.
I don't know if this is my jaded New Yorker side, but that was my first thought. The first
me
thing
too.
I thought was he's mad because her yard. He doesn't like the way her yard looks.
Yeah,
but
and then she was like, "Well, do you think he knows that my boyfriend left me and what like they broke up or whatever?" I was like, "No,
I don't think he cares.
Absolutely not. I think it's the most passive aggressive. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit, and he's not doing it out of the kindness of his heart. They called the animal control on the chickens that got out and like crossed their yard.
Oh,
so
that's definitely
I'm
what's
pretty sure
happening.
this man like hates you and is doing it out of spite. So
But it's weird because, like, what happens when someone is doing something out of spite? And then on the one hand, there's like this thing that's like, well, if I want my yard to be like that, then I want it to be like that. And you shouldn't come over into my property. But on the other hand, you're like, hey, free yard work. Like, there's a part of me that's like, this is great.
That's what my mom said last night. I told my family the whole situation. My mom goes, that's his problem.
It's his, it is, and also, as long as you guys are benefiting from it, then great. I wouldn't even talk to him. I would just be like, I'll just keep letting him mow the lawn until he doesn't want to do it anymore. Then he can come over and confront me about it if he's mad. But like,
right?
Okay.
How passive aggressive is that? It's so like the most.
Unless we're totally wrong, and he actually is just like a really nice guy. Like, that is also a possibility. I don't think that's it because that's what
I don't think so either because I tried waving at him and he completely ignored me. So I don't know.
You're right.
Neighbors,
no,
I love it.
It's definitely.
See, in New York, you don't even have to fuck with that shit. You don't wave at people. You don't, no smiles, no nothing. With this, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm down here with the chickens and I got to be nice now.
I tried talking to one of my new neighbors and he was so taken aback. That I was like, he was like, huh. I was like, hey, I'm new here. My name's Katie. What's your name? And he's like, I don't even remember. I honestly don't remember his name. It's like, what's the point of asking if you don't remember? But
that used to happen to me all the time in my building because I'd be like, oh, you're new. And they're like, yeah, we just moved in. I'm like, well, I'm the old lady that lives in the attic. I've been here 15 years. If you need anything, don't call the landlord. He will not do anything.
Yeah. But don't call me either. I'm not going to help either.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, I miss it. I miss it a lot. Anyway, so that was us this morning.
Yeah, this is the shit show that is our life right now. It's cool. It's great. Everything's fine, you guys.
Yeah, but thankfully we have this website that we can go to calm our nerves, to help
help us relax a little. Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up your bedroom is even better.
Select almost any one item for 50% off, and then Adam and Eve loads on the free stuff.
Enter offer code HORIO at checkout and get 10 tantalizing free gifts.
A sexy item for him, a special gift for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy.
And 6 free spicy movies.
Ooh. Plus, free shipping.
That's HORIO, WHOREO, HORIO at adamandeve.com. So, welcome back. Did you guys pause the pod and then peruse the site? Hope you did, or what, or don't. I don't care. Whatever.
I bought a bunk one the other day. It won't keep its charge. Like I get to work and it stops mid diddle.
Just like a dick to just stop mid. Once it's gotten what it wants, it's done. I don't know.
Anyway, yes. What are we talking about today?
Well, I was going to say today we are talking about the ultimate difficult woman, and someone that sparked my interest in now has sparked Marie's as well. I'm super excited about this. We're going to talk about Medusa.
Medusa.
Ooh. That's her hair. That's the way her hair sounds.
Is she a monster? Is she a victim? Is she a protector? I don't know. I mean, I have my opinions on it now.
All of the above? Yeah.
But I mean, I really thought before diving into this and before, you bringing this up that she was quite the monster.
Well, so shall we recant what the story is so we're all on the same page? Because even as I was reading about this, I was like, what is the Medusa story again? So it's a ancient, it's like a mythological person within Greek mythology. And like, I guess like Roman, I mean, this is where I get confused because Ovid has written about it. And also other writers and poets during those times wrote stories about Medusa and also some of these other Greek, figures and gods. But her specific story, from what I understand, is that she was one of 3 sisters. But she was
just like me.
One of 3 sisters.
Just like Medusa.
Yes.
Just
but
kidding.
They were all Gorgons. And when I Googled what's the definition of a Gorgon, it basically was like a difficult woman, but like a difficult.
Oh wow, just like an opinionated, strong.
Yeah, maybe a little not more nuanced than that, but like let's see, it's the definition is a fierce, frightening, or repulsive woman. So. Okay, so a difficult us basically, strong ladies, but 2 of them were like not like god-like. And then one of them, Medusa, was actually just a human woman. And I guess she I don't know. I guess they all lived together. This is the thing I don't. And I think stories vary. So anyway, not that part's, I mean, not that it's not important, but what was her living arrangement? I don't know. But the point of the story was she was like cursed by like Zeus or one of these higher up. Like she was am I saying this wrong? She was like seduced and like then cursed by one of these other gods. And then he turned her hair into snakes. And then that was like her like origin story. But the story that people associate with Medusa the most is the story of Perseus
or Poseidon. Poseidon?
Oh, so okay. Let's rewind all this.
Let's rewind.
Cut it all out.
Okay. Cut it all out.
You tell it. You know it better. You tell it better. So pretend I didn't say it.
So Medusa as a human, like you said, was a priestess actually at the temple of Athena. And so one day she was walking on the shore and Poseidon, the king of the sea,
yes,
or god of the sea,
god of the sea,
saw her and admired her beauty because she was just the most beautiful woman to have ever lived, and advanced her. And she was like, no, I don't like you, sea god. And he did not accept that and chased her into the temple of Athena and raped her. So that's where that happened. And then
he turned her hair into snakes, right?
Well, Athena does that.
Oh, because she's like jealous or something, huh?
Yes. Well, the theory is that there's lots of theories about why she turned her head into snakes, but one is that she was jealous of his advances towards her, and because Athena is the virgin queen, I guess, so she's of purity, and before Poseidon raped her, so was Medusa, pure and a virgin. So there's theories of that she did it because of jealousy, but I mean it's the question of, the woman being raped then punished for the man's actions.
Right.
And then there's some theories of that she actually changed head into, stakes and because to protect her from other men. Right.
So then just the rest of that story that people also know, and if you've ever seen Clash of the Titans, which we watched in school, which is that old,
really?
60s
I don't
movie.
think I've seen that.
It's a weird movie, but it basically just goes through a lot of these mythologies, but it's like in movie form. But that's the scene that sticks with me the most. So there was some king that was talking to this guy, Perseus, who was like, hey, I want you to go and get the head of Medusa. So he goes to Medusa, and Medusa's thing with the snake head thing is that she could turn men into stone just by looking at them. And now this is an interesting thing when I was reading like an analysis of this, is that she, so she's best known for having hair of snakes and her ability to turn anyone she looked at into stone, to literally petrify them. So I think that word petrify even comes from like to scare, but also to, when a rock is something is petrified, it turns to rock. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And so then this guy Perseus comes in to her home basically, and he has like a shield with a mirror on it to deflect her stare, so he could like keep her from looking at him. And then he had a sword and then cut her head off. But she was so powerful that even when her head was cut off, he's like carrying it around on his travels in a bag, and he can use her head to like deflect, like to like fight people and turn them into stone, because like her powers were like, that's how like powerful she was. Also, when her head got cut off, this is just sort of random, but and this is also an interesting thing about like rape and violence, but like when he cut off her head, she birthed two beings. One was Pegasus. And I can't remember the other. Then there was another one.
I know, I couldn't remember the other one too.
The Pegasus one is the interesting one to me. But like, but anyway, the point is that like, what a weird, like, that's an interesting concept too. It's like, if I cut off a woman's head, she gives birth, or whatever that, is that like a rape analogy, or like, so anyway, that's another
interesting
thing.
It's so interesting too that Pegasus is such like I was thinking of Lisa Frank, like she has Pegasus on tons of her art. And it's like this childlike thing, but when you look up Pegasus and what happened, it's because it sprung from Medusa's head being chopped off. Here you go,
Right.
kid. Take this off
Right.
to school.
Right. Right.
Such
But
a
it
weird...
it honestly makes me like it more. Like I love like flying
Yeah.
horses and unicorns. I love them. But like I love this even more that that's like where it came from. But
But
you're
there's
right.
more
Like
to it,
then
yeah.
you see this like kind of like My Little Pony style like Pegasus. And you're
Yes,
like,
My
oh.
Little Pony.
But how like powerful these images are, like when you but also how it's interesting too, though. I wonder the neutering of an image like that, where it's like this strong, powerful horse that came from a woman's body, and then they make it like cute. It's like, oh, it's not dangerous anymore. It's not scary anymore. We're like, it's like taking it, maybe I'm reading too much into that particular thing, but that just occurred to me.
No, I bet you're onto something.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So that's basically the story of Medusa. The only other part that's interesting that popped up for me. Well, before I get into that, sorry, I'm not doing a good job of being organized in my thoughts. Let me go back to like neutering. So,
well, maybe it's that bug in your brain.
It's probably like the bug that's eating my brain right now. I want to say first that like, it's so fascinating about these mythological stories because at the time of the Greeks that were when they were telling these stories to each other, it was more than just a story to them. It was like a shared history. So there was a belief that these things actually existed. And when they were telling these stories about the gods and people and whatever, it was like our ancestors. So there's like, it's a weird blend. It's a thing I don't think we really have anymore in our culture, but like this, maybe we do with like things like Columbus and stuff. These like stories that like are probably births of something else, but then there's like these elements layered onto it that are more mythological. So I think that that's an interesting point just for context. But like, so the way that they frame Medusa, right, is she's like this evil woman. But think about it. She lives alone or like with her sisters. She's not playing into people's, men's expectations of her. She didn't like Poseidon and then he rapes her and then punishes her. But then she becomes super fucking powerful. But then she's so powerful, they have to like destroy her, So that's like such like when we talk about witches and stuff on the podcast, it feels so connected to me. This idea of like, we have to destroy powerful women. And who does she represent then? Is she a story you tell little kids to be like, don't be like Medusa, don't be like outspoken or someone's going to cut your head off.
So what I think is interesting about the Medusa story, and I didn't come up with this myself, historian I saw on YouTube was talking about it, and I think this is fascinating, is that you don't hear Medusa's side of the story.
Right,
she's completely silent in all of the story. And some historians actually believe that part of the history has been rewritten or taken out because you don't hear her side of the trauma of rape. You don't hear how she recovered or, it's just that just keeping her silent. And well, this one historian actually believes that like her story, the real story of it, could actually change the world and change the way that we look at the patriarchy because of the women's place in society and like having like the men dominate. Actually, if it had been written by a woman, the outcome would have been completely different. And that maybe we wouldn't view Medusa as a monster, but a victim to how cruel the world is to the innocent. It's just amazing how it's still happening today. That's Greek mythology. And yet it's still happening today with blaming the innocent.
But that's the thing too. I hope like that patriarchal narrative has just been so deeply ingrained in all of humanity for such a long time and it's weird because we talk about Medusa and we're like, well, what about her side of the story? But like, then you almost forget she's not real. Somebody made that up.
Right.
A man made her up. A man was like, oh, we have to have a woman in this story that has snakes for hair. Who like when she looks at, because he probably had like a situation with a woman who he was like, hey baby, let's go out. And she was like, nah, bitch, get out of my face. And he was powerless to do anything about it. Or maybe he killed her. I don't know. It was ancient Greece. But then he was like, I'm gonna write a story about a woman that doesn't listen and do what I want her to do. And I'm gonna make her have snakes for hair because women, nobody wants snakes for hair. And also I'm gonna make her so like, she's so evil if she just looks at you, then she turns you to stone. And it's like, baby, why are you writing that story, baby? Like, who hurt you?
Who hurt you?
But then what I like about, so like that we have this story of Medusa that has been created, right? But what I like about it now is like being able to take it and go, what's fucked up about this? Like we're saying like, well, we're victim blaming, and we're like, you know, that it's still this mentality of like, oh, a woman doesn't have any authority over her own body, you know, because Poseidon comes in there and like rapes her anyway, and even though she's like, no, I don't want you, you know, and then and then women against women, like, come on, girls, we gotta like work together, because don't turn some lady's hair into snakes. That's not nice. Like it's not her fault. Like, come on. But like all these like little allegories that pop up in these stories, and then they just like worm their way into society and the way women are viewed, and the way like. So there's a statue that just went up in New York. I have not seen it because there's been a pandemic, so I don't leave the house. But I think it's called Medusa. It's the Medusa statue.
Yeah.
And I think it was made a couple years ago, but it just kind of got erected in Manhattan somewhere. And it's a statue of Medusa, alive and well, with her snake hair, totally naked, holding the head of Perseus. And the idea is, and it's in front of like the courthouse, I think, or maybe it's in Brooklyn. I don't know. It's in front of like a courthouse or something important, because it's sort of like, what if the story had been reversed? Let's think about like what that means now if she had cut his head off, and that she has the power and she's not been silenced, or like, you know, I don't love the way the statue looks because it's not my style of statue, but that's just like a aesthetic thing. But the power of the image is really cool, and like definitely like thought provoking, and like and I think really speaks to exactly what we're talking about, where it's like, what are the narratives we are sharing? What are the stories we're telling each other about women and like where they fit in? And there's another part of that story that I didn't know about until earlier this afternoon when I was looking it up again. So I thought this was fascinating too. And it just reinforces this idea of like, oh, you don't want to be like one of these Gorgons, you know, ladies. There's a part of the story where after Medusa is beheaded, her sisters are like out for revenge. And they are like chasing down Perseus, and I don't know, they're just anguished and furious, and I don't even know if they chase him down so much, but they're very upset, so they're making like anguished sounds and cries, and they're angry, whatever. So then Athena, the woman that turned the hair into snakes or whatever, she was then inspired to invent a flute to mimic the sounds of their anguish and their fury, which I don't know why you'd
that's
be
a
like,
recorder.
You know what? I want to make a flute that's like, that sounds like screaming. Like that's all I want.
Is that a rape whistle?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like such a weird. So anyway, that's sort of weird. But she's like, this is part of the story. So she invented this flute to mimic the sound. And the thing though is, as she's playing the flute, Athena, she happens to like glance at her reflection, and as she's playing it, she sees that her face is distended and distorted and ugly as she plays it. So then she's like, oh, like while she was able to mimic the wails and the fury of these sisters, the idea is like, I don't want to do it because it also makes me like look ugly, right? It kind of, but that to me, it just smacks so much of the witch stories, which is that like, don't be angry, don't show your feelings, don't, don't act out, don't look for justice, because then you look ugly, ladies. You know, it's like a deterrent of like, because what is she trying to mimic? It's like people are pissed because you killed my sister. And then we're like, oh, but don't speak out about that.
God, a man wrote this story for sure.
Exactly. Homer or whatever.
Yeah.
Oedipus or who wrote it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. So like that, the ugly story of like placing women as ugly beings has seeped into fairy tales like Cinderella. You know, she's an ugly woman until with stepsisters, whatever, and then the fairy godmother transforms her into this beautiful creature, and then that's when she gets the attention of the prince, and then that's when she is saved,
right?
Which is so fascinating.
Also, what's interesting about that story is that like it's the ugly stepsisters, right? And they're jealous of Cinderella, and that's why so they make her ugly in the cinders, and they make her like garbage so like you don't look at her. But you're right that it's the cleaning up of her that gives her attention and power. But it's like what is the power? The power in that story is only like the love of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's another story that maybe has been written or should be written, which is like, what if these stepsisters are actually just like super cool and like independent ladies, and they're like, everything's fine, and then, you know, but like we've twisted that story. And again, we're making it sound like these people existed. These are just like tales that people have told, but like there's certainly effect. I mean, think of how much the story of Cinderella weasels its way into your brain as a kid. I mean, everybody wants to be Cinderella.
I wore a light blue dress and glass slippers my senior year to prom. Yeah. That's how badly I wanted to feel like I was going to a ball in a beautiful, you know, normally I felt like an ugly little, you know, woman in the cinders. And then all of a sudden I was transformed into a beautiful swan. I mean, it's so instilled in us. It's just, and this is where this stuff comes from.
Like the attention of men.
Right. Well, so some early feminists actually believed that like high heels for women. I mean, yes, high heels were invented by like Henry the something. I don't know, one of the numbers.
One of the Henrys.
Yeah, one of the Henrys. I'm not a historian. I just like watching YouTube videos. But so men first wore high heels. But then like high heels were invented for women specifically to make our legs look longer. But then some early feminists believed that high heels were meant to like trap us women, to make us like weak and not be able to run away from the male gaze.
Right. Also, there's definitely when you think about foot binding too in like China, that was a way that, you know, they're telling you it's beautiful for you to have teeny tiny feet. It's beautiful, so we're gonna like wrap your feet up. But what that in effect does is make you unable to defend yourself. And you're unable to like have any autonomy at all. So you are like a little doll that is like stuck in whatever room they place you in because you can't walk away. I mean, think about how like, exactly what you're saying.
And same with girdles. And then also with like just modern day underwear too. Just think about this. This really hit me hard because my panties are so uncomfortable sometimes. But it's like your panties, modern day panties are lacy and thong like whatever. You know, that's what I prefer thongs. I don't know. I mean, I got into them a couple years ago.
This is why I wear granny panties. Wherever you're going with this, this is why I wear underpants up to my titties. I'm just like, whatever.
Well, since the pandemic, I do not wear underwear at all anymore because it's uncomfortable. But the reason why our panties are uncomfortable is because they're lacy and for the male gaze. It's for men.
And it's like you wear them just
you're wearing the patriarchy
just in case
right
someone
now.
takes your pants off, then they get to see them, you know.
Yeah, that's so like, fucked up.
On the other hand, if you enjoy wearing lacy panties, we're not saying don't do that. Like if it makes you feel good and you enjoy also how they look, that's totally great. Up to you. Yes. Like you are allowed to decide that.
And high heels too.
Yes, they were, and heels too. And because we can take this stuff back and make it our own. But just know that these things were originally invented for men, you know? So if you don't like wearing them, but you feel pressure to wear them, fuck that. But if you like to wear them because they make you feel good, then do it, you know? Take the control back there. Yes. But yeah, that's really annoying. I also, it's like and I don't know if I'm sure there's some men listening right now and you've maybe been hearing women talk about this, but like it has been a crazy thing, I think, that across the gender of, you know, all women are kind of collective, not all, but like so many women collectively right now are going during the pandemic being like, I don't think I'm ever going to wear a bra again. Like, why am I wearing this? They're just kind of uncomfortable. And the other thing I was going to say, again, this is now a little conspiracy or theory-ish, but things like bras and things that are like uncomfortable, it makes a little small part of your brain, like it takes up space in your brain when you're like, oh God, this wedgie. And it like doesn't give you your full power to be present at any given moment, you know, when your bra's uncomfortable and you're like trying to, you know, do your job and you're like having to like deal with this uncomfortable bra. It's like, why are we doing that? You know, some people need bras. Some people enjoy wearing them. Some people, whatever. I'm again, not saying you don't have to burn your bra, but it should be a choice. It shouldn't be this thing. It's like, God forbid a woman's nipple is a little bit showing, you know, like, it's like, we have nipples.
Right.
And if it turns you on to look at them, that's your problem, not mine. And that's like the whole part of the like rape part of the Poseidon Medusa story, right? Where it's like, he wanted something and she was like, no, that's not yours to have. And then he just took it anyway.
Right.
I mean, Who else is inspired to just get a giant like Medusa chest plate tattoo? Like I just want to get like, it's like all I want right now is just this giant Medusa, I don't know, costume.
Well, apparently
that I wear all the time.
I've never been to Italy. I was actually supposed to be there this month celebrating my parents' 45th wedding anniversary, but pandemic, yay. But apparently, Katie, have you been to Sicily?
No, I've only been to Milan and San Remo, which is a very
my
small
God,
town.
that's so cool. But well, apparently in Sicily, haven't been, was supposed to be there. There's actually, statues and pictures of Medusa all over Sicily, and it's meant for protection.
Yes, that was another thing that I saw too. I love that. I think that the idea behind it is like that you take in. There was a word I learned today. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I never heard this word before. Apotropaic. And an apotropaic is like a image that supposedly has the power to avert evil influences or bad luck. But I think it's an apotropaic that is like, and this is also common during a certain period where you use like an image of something evil to ward off evil. So gargoyles are like apotropaics that like they're trying to scare off like evil spirits with like a scary looking thing. But aside from even like that, it's like I love this idea that like she could be like your spirit animal. You know what I mean? Like she can be this thing, this protector. I really like, that's why I do. I'm like so wanting like Medusa images like all over my room. But that will definitely scare away my husband, I'm afraid. If he comes into your bedroom and the entire bedroom is like just all Medusa everything, I would be worried too. I mean,
well, I've been chatting with this guy online, and he was like, "What are you doing this morning?" I was like, "Studying Medusa."
Yeah.
Like that's just who I am. He texted me like at 10:30 last night, like, "You up?" And of course I'm not. I go to bed so early. Right. And then this morning I was like, "I'm up early studying about Medusa." I mean, I think I scared him away, which is fine. Yeah. I don't care. I'm
trying to figure out how to turn my hair into snakes. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine. That's me though.
Yeah. What's that song from that circus movie? This is me. The circus movie. Whatever.
Unapologetically me.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that was another thing too that like was kind of cool about how she stands out in like those kind of art forms, because apparently like it's in Greek art, it's very, very rare for a figure to face directly out. But in almost all representations of Medusa, it says like across all styles and mediums of Greek art, she's always like depicted staring straight ahead and uncompromisingly confrontational. And like, I like that too. Uncompromisingly confrontational.
Well, also her statue would be sometimes used here in the Western world, like at women's shelters also. Which I think is very interesting. Yeah, to ward off evil and also bring in safe, protect women within. Yeah. So that is the tattoo our matching tattoos that we've been talking about.
Medusa. No. And then it's like her snake hair spells out difficult women.
Oh, wait. Well, we've been talking about merch. Hey, you guys, if you want this merch, we can create it.
We should. Oh my God. Let's make a Medusa shirt.
Oh, a Medusa difficult woman shirt.
And then it's like, oh my God. Yes.
Oh my God.
We're going to work
Katie.
on this. Gotta work on my drawing skills.
Shit.
To sign this.
All right. Okay. We're on it.
Actually, email us if you'd buy that shirt. If it was like a Medusa,
email us if you could design
like
that shirt.
That too.
Yeah. Well, I think
cool.
that it's what I was listening to a podcast the other day, and of course, true crime. And the story was this 15-year-old was kidnapped and raped. And then when she went to the police department to tell that she had been raped, the police did not believe her. And they actually victim blamed this young 15-year-old. And this is a modern day story. This is 2020. This happened, this year or so. And the fact that like women still are it's still the narrative of like, well, what were you wearing? What did you do to like, get the man to lust after you? And then it's your fault.
Right.
And then the silencing and the shame around rape that is still happening today. And just revisit the Medusa story, and it's the same. That's the stuff that really kind of fucks with you with the patriarchy and where's the women's place.
I remember like when I watched that weird movie, the Clash of the Titans, and like seeing Medusa, and she's depicted pretty like terrifying and scary and whatever. And I remember thinking like, oh, I would hate to be Medusa. Like I just kept thinking like, oh, I'd hate to be Medusa. I don't want to be Medusa. I don't want to be Medusa. And now I'm like, I want to be Medusa because of the power part. But like you're part of that too. And we sort of said this already, but it's just hitting me on a different way right now. But like also that it's like you're beautiful and lovely and you're living your life and you're doing your thing. And then somebody rapes you. And then your punishment is to be turned ugly. You know, that was part of the thing I didn't want to be when I watched her. Is I was like, oh, she has like, it's not even just like, oh, it's scary to have snakes for hair. Although I have to say, if I had snakes for hair, maybe the initial feeling is terror. But then at a certain point, you're like, time to feed my hair. Like it becomes like your pet. Like just like as a person that's living alone right now and very lonely, I'm like, maybe snakes for hair wouldn't be so bad.
Just my God.
Friends with you all the time. But aside from that, like this idea that's like unattractive, right? Like men they're not into snakes for hair. So like that you're being like punished.
But that's the same thing about makeup. You know, I mean, we put on makeup to make ourselves not as ugly. But do you want to be spending an hour putting on your makeup? We're doing it for the male gaze again. Like for again, some people love putting on makeup.
Absolutely, please do it do it if you want to do it because it's fun. It also can be fun. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're painting your face. That's so.
And you're
fun.
also like hiding who you are. You know what I mean? You're hiding what you naturally have. And again, fun, love it. Don't feel bad for wearing makeup. I like to wear makeup sometimes too.
I just got some glitter stuff the other day, and it is amazing.
Fun, love it. But like, yeah, it's like think about what society is telling women. It's like, okay, now you have to hide your face behind paint because you're not good enough. Like, you know, and we have to you have to work really hard at being good enough.
I'll never forget. I had a boyfriend several years ago. We were talking about makeup, and he was like, "I mean, you're just naturally beautiful. Like you don't need to wear makeup." And I was like, I always have makkup on.
I'm wearing so much makeup right now. Exactly.
I have so much makeup on.
Idea. I mean, I'm not.
And I also will never forget. As a kid, I had a family member kind of scold me for all the makeup that I had on, and
you can't win.
I didn't have any makeup on. I have very long eyelashes, and I was a child, and my family member was like, "You take that off," and I was like, "I swear, I don't have any mascara on." She was like, "Don't you lie to me."
Dark long eyelashes.
Yeah. So I mean, we just can't win.
You can't win.
It's like you're shamed for. Yeah. You're damned if you do. You damned if you don't.
Which is like so many things, right? I mean, it's just like such a common story. Do you think Medusa wore makeup? Probably not.
No.
I like it. The snakes would eat it off. They'd be like, "Oh," and she'd be like, "Guys, I'm just trying to wear makeup now." I'm into this idea of having like snake friends.
Some snakes. Here's a question: do you think a Statue of Liberty was built to mimic? Like, I know her crown is symbolic of something completely different, but I wonder if it does have some sort of imagery from Medusa. I don't know. It just kind of hit me. But how cool would that be if that would be like a little French secret that they gave Statue of Liberty to America, but like they knew it was like a Medusa type symbolic thing, but they were really
that
just
makes me worried because were they trying to turn us all into stone? Were they like, fuck America, let's send them
don't
Medusa.
Tell anybody. Let's
yeah.
I hope not. I mean, she does kind of look like Medusa with that.
Well, she's
crown.
A powerful lady.
Possible.
I do like actually Statue of Liberty is a whole other interesting thing that would be probably interesting to look
next
into
week
because,
on
there you go.
Yeah,
just gonna go through
statues.
Yeah. This is in our attempt to try to like not
talk about
everybody with the election. We're just like, what's another statue?
It's the statue podcast.
Yeah, but this is like I have to say this just like finding that like one thing about the Medusa thing like has sparked my interest in Greek mythology so much. It's a thing.
I know.
Did you study in school Greek mythology?
We did. I had an awesome teacher for AP English that we did. And we read Metamorphosis. How do you say it? Metamorphosis?
Is that the one? Or is that the Kafka thing?
Ovid.
I think Metamorphosis is... Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Metamorphosis. See,
Metamorphosis.
I didn't study this in school. I never
we read Metamorphosis. We also read the Book of Job, which I think is kind of problematic in public school, but not necessarily. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on how you teach it, right?
Yeah. So, but also don't even get me started about like all the rape stuff in the Bible.
Oh, God,
there's so many stories about like just husbands being able to rape all their wives.
Totally.
Anyway,
I was just
keep reading the Bible.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about this with a friend last night, actually, about how like there's all these like, and also is it Lot or somebody who like God killed his whole family and then Lot did something good for God and he's like, here's a new family for you, and they're like, great, thank you, and like maybe it wasn't Lot, but just that like the people, like the women and children were so replaceable, and it wasn't about that. But all that, from what I understand, I also am more interested in this and would like to do more research, but from what I understand, that's a lot of the Old Testament, right? But then that's what's so radical about Jesus. Is that he comes in all of a sudden then and is like, actually, like we should probably be nicer to each other and like not kill each other and like, you know, just like be more tolerant of like different types of people, including women. And that's, we talked about this in another podcast, but like that, like, and this to me also ties in with these stories, like these mythological stories to some extent, because let's assume that Jesus was a real person and all the people around him were real people. This erasing of the woman's narrative of Jesus seems to be more and more like a real thing. Like there was maybe a book of that a woman, you know, like how there's like Paul and what is it called? The book of
the prophets.
Not
the apostles,
the apostles, right? That like, and we talked about this before in the podcast, but that there may have been more female apostles that now they've like erased out of the book because they don't want women to have any power. When in fact, if you look at the stuff Jesus is saying, he's basically saying like everybody's good, everybody's like equal, and that's the part of the story they didn't want to propagate. But yeah, I think we have to be very careful about the stories that we not only tell like the next generation, but that we tell ourselves, the stuff that we ingest. I'm not saying don't read it. You should read it, but just like be aware that this stuff has been written by people to manipulate. You know what I mean?
And also just as we go into Christmas, just, you know, what does the Virgin Mary really represent?
Right.
And that full story. It is just making a woman, how would you say it?
First of all, this idea that she's like, that
pure.
Jesus would have to be born of a virgin is like,
right.
What? Why?
Right.
Like, why is that even part of the story? Number two, that like, then her like antithesis is the other Mary, who's like the whore, right?
Right. Mary Magdalene.
Which is also in question of whether or not that was even accurate. But you know, if you're a powerful woman, you've got to be either a witch or a whore. And if you're the mother of Jesus, then you have to be a virgin. You can't be just a regular woman who has like who's a full human. Just be like a human. Why can't it just been every mother is basically, in my opinion, at the level of like Jesus's mother, because she has to like perform a miracle. She's birthing another human being.
Right. Yeah.
That's a miracle. And
just
it's
don't
like,
eat that miracle.
Don't eat it like a chicken. Don't eat that. If that miracle's a little watery, don't eat it.
Oh God.
I'm sorry about that, everybody.
See, first full circle
Totally.
podcast. Oh God.
But that's like a and I do think that this is something that I'm sure people have studied, but like that idea that why are men so threatened by women? It's like because we contain the power of life.
Right.
You know, there's something about that that's deep seated. It's interesting too to see, like, I'd be curious to talk to more dads about like, how does it feel when all of a sudden like your wife gives birth? Like, you're not, of course you played an important part in the beginning of that process, but then you don't have anything, you're not a part of, you know, you could please be there for moral support and be there like to take care of the baby when it's born, but like that's a bonding that you're not a part of as a man, and that's got to feel weird.
And I think I mean, I don't know, but yes,
I mean, I don't
agree.
know what it feels like to be a mom either, but anyway, strong women are all pretty damn strong, you know. And I just wish more women knew that.
Well, you're strong.
When you're strong.
Thanks.
Even when I think there's a bug in my nose. I need to lean on the strong lady to help me.
Oh my God. I mean, I would have driven up there and had to get that out if you really
I was like, bring your tweezers.
Oh God. Jesus Christ. Well, I think that's fitting for our Medusa episode that you have something.
Oh my God, that's what it is. There's a little snake growing out of my nose.
There's a little snake in there.
That's great. I'll have a
There
friend.
you go. Problem solved.
It's like, it's like Medusa. They turned her head hair into snakes. Someone turned my nose hair into snakes. And
oh, God. Oh, God.
Maybe that's what
2020. I mean, it feels right.
Anything can happen.
Totally
anything
right.
Happen.
Oh, my God. All right.
Well.
So much homework for our listeners. If you can design our merch, email us at difficultwomenpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any stories
any
of
advice
bugs in your nose.
Yeah, advice for me what to do about it. Let me know.
Oh, my God. Follow us on Patreon. All the Instagrams. I don't know.
Yeah, and let us know what you think.
Let us know.
Send us emails. We're lonely.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Write us a review if you haven't.
Yes, we love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun.
I mean, I think that's a fun episode.
I think it's so good.
I think it's good to talk about all the politics, but also like we can take a break sometimes.